Let's go. Yes.
Hello and welcome to Rock Paper Shotgun and a video about A Plague Tale Innocence. It's a game about rats from Asobo studio, but it's not actually their first. Hilariously, they did work on a Ratatouille for THQ, which is obviously a very different game. For one, Remy and his pals didn't eat a 5-year-old at any point. Unless that was in the DLC. Anyway, Plague Tale. Ever since playing its opening 3 chapters, this game has been scuttling around in my brain like, well, the army of rats that are plaguing 14th century France in this narrative adventure. In the game, the rats' flesh-craving teeth are kept from our flesh-covered children by avoiding the dark, so what better way to cast light on my own swirling thoughts than jumping into the next chapter and chatting to the game's director. I got to play more of the game and capture this PC gameplay back in April. So far we've been limited to console B-roll, so enjoy seeing the flesh-crawling rat horde in 1440p. I don't know whether to go ooh and ah, or simply brrr. If you watched my earlier video, and please do to get the Plague Tale basics, you'll have seen this rat-infested crypt basically serving as a tutorial into how rats don't like the light, but do like to eat your legs, and then the rest of you. It's a terrible way to go, and thanks to autosave, one that sickos like me can enjoy again and again and again. What this earlier chapter didn't convey is how fast the swarm can arrive. 1 second you're enjoying a nice moonlit stroll in the countryside, appreciating the calm of night and the giant mountain of dead pigs over there, and the next the ground is puking up a flesh flood of fur.
The torch! Get to the torch, quick!
The animation of these intrusions is so brilliantly done, filling the screen with danger in this really organic way. And while the game is maybe a little overly keen on chase sequences, in these early chapters at least, the nightmarish spread of these pursuers means you're not just running away from angry alert icons hovering somewhere behind you, although the game does do that too. Interestingly, it could have all been very different. The game's director, Kevin Choteau, tells me that once they decided to create the game about the plague, they faced the challenge of giving it a physical form. You know, a disease can't be seen or felt after all. They actually started trying to represent it as a miasma, but felt the game was slipping into the realms of the fantastical or magical. I mean, you would just be fighting a big smell cloud, and they didn't want to lose a sense of authenticity. Rats gave them an unstoppable force that could physically cover the country and represent the spread of disease. I think they made the right choice. I wondered in the earlier video if the rat movement was a bit of a clever trick. Because of the very fixed puzzle solutions, maybe it was less dynamic than it first appeared. But Chateau says that what we're looking at is the result of many years of virtual rat wrangling. Although they had the rats moving in prototype before the human characters, the lead gameplay programmer worked on them for almost 4 years. I mean, I work on one of these videos for about 2 days, and I'm glad to see the back of them after that. Imagine having to train virtual rodents for 4 whole years of your life. Lead gameplay programmer, we salute you. And Chateau says that the main challenge, and one I think the game does rise to, was capturing the behaviour of the swarm, but also having rats that could hold up to scrutiny when there were fewer on screen. He calls it having a good single rat experience, but without losing the wider scale. What we see on screen now is a delicate balancing act of rendering, CPU management, and artistic flourishes. Getting the rats to react dynamically, like here where a swinging light scatters them side to side, but without dragging down performance, was a big push. Chateau describes it as a series of almost full glasses that you are shifting liquids between, always on the line of breaking their behaviour and revealing their robotic nature. But for all the technical cleverness, it's actually a tiny artistic decision that really sells me on the rats. In Asobo's research, they watched videos of people hunting rats at night on a farm. It not only gave them an idea of how rats escape and use the world around them, something the rats in the game do brilliantly as they slip through holes to reappear elsewhere in the room, but it showed how super bright the rats' eyes are in the dark. And so it is here, with the real size of the rat horde conveyed with an ocean of red glints in the distance. It's like looking down on a country from a plane at night, only all the streetlights are eerily shifting. It's a really, really neat effect. As I explained in my earlier Plague Tale preview, I enjoyed the individual ingredients of the first 3 stages, but wondered if and how the game would mix them up. At the adventure's heart are 2 threats, each designed to push you into the arms of the other. You have the rats, but you also have the Inquisition, searching for your brother Hugo. The irony is, to escape the religious zealots, you have to take them to the shadows, which means party time in Rat Town. Choteau describes Plague Tale as a triptych of humans, rats and light, but where triptych paintings traditionally contain their subjects in 3 separate panels, Plague Tale is about what happens when they collide. Or rather, it will be. The new level we can cover in this video still doesn't bring the Inquisition and rats into the same space. They're more neighbours, as you first sneak through farmland being searched by guards, and then have to navigate the Ratties' pig playground.
They've been slaughtered. By the Inquisition, probably.
As much as I think the game gets juicier when you start playing humans and rats against each other, I do appreciate the pacing of the early game. Each chapter sets up the rules around the game's big ideas. Chapter 1 teaches the basics of stealth, Chapter 2 demonstrates the limits of Amicia's combat abilities, while Chapter 3 sets the rats free for a bloody lesson in light and shadow. As such, every level has a distinct flavour or idea, whether it's tied to the setting or a new piece of equipment. I likened the game to The Last of Us in my last video, and it's definitely the pacing that gives it that vibe, the way puzzles, stealth and more panicked action shift in and out of focus, but are all neatly justified by what's happening in the story at the given time. Of course, it's easier to do these things at the start of a story, where everything seems fresh and exciting. It will be interesting to see if the final game can maintain the balance and mix all the way to the finish line. If Chapter 4 doesn't give us the rats versus knights grudge match we're all here for, it does give us a better taste of Plague Tale's stealth. I was worried after the opening tutorial that it might be a bit too handholdy and linear, driven as it is by a focus on distractions over confrontation. Amicia and Hugo are fragile, they die after just 1 hit, so you're encouraged to throw stones at conveniently shiny objects to draw away guards.
I did hear something over there.
Or chuck larger pots, because if there's one thing the Inquisition hates more than unholy witchcraft, it's the idea of a lovely ceramic getting damaged. Freed from the confines of their back garden, we're able to see the sneaking skills stretch their legs in a more sandboxy environment. Well, actually, your legs are bent in a crouch, but you get the idea. Where that earlier stage felt like it was looking for a specific solution to each cluster of guards, this area shows that yes, you can slightly bodge things up and then try to get out of trouble. Guards have a suspicious phase where they'll sniff around for you, forcing Amicia to duck through windows or carefully crouch in waist-high crops. You have got the option to take down guards with pebbles thrown from your sling, as long as they don't have sophisticated anti-pebble technology, aka a helmet. But your sling makes a noisy racket, which can draw more enemies in. A quick look at the upgrade tree says you can soften the noise, but for now it's recommended that Amicia sticks to the quiet hand throw. Even so, your tools are still more than up to the job. Most guards have a conveniently placed scarecrow or crate of helmets to rattle a pebble against. If there is no shiny noise-making prop, you can throw the aforementioned pot. This is an incredibly generous tool, highlighting exactly which soldier will hear it and come to investigate. I get the feeling Asobo wants sneaking to move quickly for the sake of story. This isn't aimed at the Hitman, Metal Gear or Dishonored crowd. That said, the level does contain a few riskier areas that promise higher rewards. A guard on a tighter patrol pattern might be guarding a crate of upgrade materials, or an area with 2 guards circling each other might hide another crate of upgrade materials. The game likes to reward more advanced play with upgrade materials, is what I'm saying. Or maybe even a collectible item. I managed to miss half of them in the levels I played, even though I was keeping quite a close lookout for them.
Here you go, Lucas.
Right. Now you have to mix them.
As I mentioned upgrade materials, crafting comes into slightly better perspective in this new level. Once you reach the farm, you're introduced to a boy who practices alchemy and teaches you to make a fiery bomb that can ignite hail bells and smouldering embers. Very handy for creating escape routes through fields of rats and hay bales. But the desire to make bombs sits in direct competition with the more general upgrades, which use the same pool of ingredients. The oils, alcohol, leather and string that you need to be saving up to improve your slingshot or ammo pouch or shoes are the same bits Amicia can quickly jam together into a child-friendly Molotov cocktail from her quick craft menu. Factor in the slightly limited pocket space you have from the outset, something that, ironically, has to be upgraded, and you have to start making calls about what to use and when. Again, this is very The Last of Us. That game had me constantly fretting about whether to turn dwindling supplies into health kits or Molotovs. Am I a cowardly healer or a cool dude who burns freaks alive? And I feel some of that tension returning here. In this particular stage, you don't have much choice in the matter. It's firebombs or death, basically. But it's another interesting wrinkle to the game. We know from footage shown from a much later stage, and I'll link to the full thing in the description, that Amicia's ammo wheel gains several new recipes as the story unfolds, so I'll be interested to see whether this crafting dilemma actually goes anywhere. Of course, the real alchemy, and how's that for a segue, is that Asobo appear to have made a game about a character and their bodyguard that doesn't fall into the pitfalls of the dreaded Escort mission. To be honest, Amicia and Hugo behave as one giant unit for most of what I played. You don't let go of his hand, and you steer them as one. You can press a button to leave Hugo alone for a short amount of time, but he will freak out and draw attention after a while, and to be frank, I've yet to find a moment where this is actually needed. Maybe it's tied to a mechanic buried deep in the game, but it is one of the more mystifying elements. On the plus side, you won't be adding Hugo to the long list of AI companions you've left to die over the years. Rest in peace, Natalia from GoldenEye. Also, rest in peace, the pile of ash that used to be Lydia in Skyrim. When I asked Chateau about building a painless escort mechanic, he says the key is giving believable humanity to Hugo. He has mood swings as the story requires them, but he's also a bright presence in quite a harsh situation and offers good insight into the world, literally pointing out puzzle elements if you're being dim. He also has an excellent apple-eating animation. GoldenEye's Natalia never ate an apple, and probably couldn't hold one with those big brick hands of hers. Oh, and a funny side note, due to the child actors being involved, they're English with pretty decent French accents, one extra challenge the team faced was having to get a 7-year-old voice actor to deliver lines in a game they couldn't actually show him because of the age-rated content. Having to indirectly describe moments of people being eaten alive by rats has to be a fun day at the office. As Chateau told me, we didn't want to destroy a real human. Throughout our chat, the idea keeps coming up that Asobo are just trying to make a game they want to play. They love narrative adventure games, and so few of them are made these days. I mean, it's all poxy games as services. That's me speaking, not them. Whatever happened to the self-contained story, told with style and zip, over the course of a tight 10 to 15 hours? Those are the games I love, and they seem to love them too. This is a studio largely known for work for hire on other IPs such as old Ratatouille, but this is what they really want to be doing. I love the idea of people chasing a dream and running into weird hurdles like how to explain rat murder to a child or how to get thousands of rats behaving on screen. The resulting work, or what I've played of it, has a real sincerity to it. It's right there in the world they've built, the same southwestern region of France where Asobo themselves are based. They look out of their window for inspiration and then went looking through history for a story that they could tell. At times they literally reworked levels to include ideas taken from photos that team members would take at weekends in the medieval villages surrounding Bordeaux. I'm hoping that these were trips to beautiful autumnal forests and not Dead Pig Mountain. I have high hopes for this one, and we don't have long to wait. My fellow vidbud Alice is working on the review as we speak. That'll be up in time for when the game releases on the 14th of May next week. I hope in the meantime this video has been informative. After talking through initial thoughts in the first video, again please do watch it if you haven't, it's nice to explore a bit more of the game. Thanks to Kevin for chatting to us and for letting us capture some shiny new gameplay, especially for you. If you enjoyed this video, please do give it a like and all that jazz, and I'd love love it if you subscribe to Rock Paper Shotgun for more videos like this one. We'll do our best not to fill your subs feed with a buzzing swarm of vermin quality content. Thanks for watching, and see you soon.